Good morning, Lutheran High family. This is DC Jolene Seabarth from Emmanuel Lutheran, and over here we have...
I am Vicar Ian Thormanson from Emmanuel Lutheran as well.
So we are excited to be with you for chapel today. One of my favorite things to do is to get to know people. So we're going to do a little activity as we start chapel together today. I have these blocks that have questions on all sides. So we're going to answer some questions and get to know one another a little better. So the first question is, if you could only watch one TV show, which would it be? Vicar, what would your answer be?
The Office, for sure.
The Office?
Definitely The Office.
Okay. Mine would be Hawaii Five-0. I'm very sad that the series is almost finished. Did you watch that?
Never.
Never?
Sorry.
Oh, you should. It's really good. Okay, our next one is this. What types of books do you like to read? Vicar.
Really depends on the day. Anything from young adult fantasy novels to adult fantasy novels to regular fantasy novels to theology. I like theology too. So everything. I like everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of choices. Lots of choices. Yep. So I like fiction. I don't get to read as much as I would like, but right now I'm squeezing in a few extra times to read that I normally wouldn't have. And here's our last question. It says, what is your least favorite subject in school? Well, Vicar, you are still technically in school.
But I don't have any subjects.
True. So what was a least favorite subject for you?
What was a least favorite subject? Math.
Math?
I hate math.
Really?
I really don't like math.
Oh, I love math. Love math. Well, I would say mine, I loved learning about history, but I absolutely did not love trying to remember all of the dates and things related to that. That's why I like math, because there's formulas and you can come to an answer, but math, history, very different. Okay.
I like to think outside the box.
Okay. Well, we all have our own story, don't we? So Vicar's answers, my answers, very different. I'm sure your answers are different than your friends' answers. We're not all created the same. God wired us in very unique ways with a variety of interests and abilities. Part of our story is the same, though, in that we have a God who loves us unconditionally and created us as his children. Since Ash Wednesday, we have been walking through the season of Lent, and next week we make it to Holy Week. Holy Week, we start with Palm Sunday, we journey to Maundy Thursday, Good Friday, and all the way to that joyful celebration at Easter. And we know next week what is coming next, what is at the very end, and we can celebrate that. Today, our reading takes us to that Thursday of Holy Week, and we are going to hear God's words from John chapter 18. When Jesus had spoken these words, he went out with his disciples across the brook Kidron, where there was a garden, which he and his disciples entered. Now Judas, who betrayed him, also knew the place, for Jesus often met there with his disciples. So Judas, having procured a band of soldiers and some officers from the chief priests and the Pharisees, went there with lanterns and torches and weapons. Then Jesus, knowing all that would happen to him, came forward and said to them, "Who do you seek?" They answered him, "Jesus of Nazareth." Jesus said to them, "I am he." Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them. When Jesus said to them, "I am he," he drew back and fell to the ground. So he asked them again, "Whom do you seek?" And they said, "Jesus of Nazareth." Jesus answered, "I told you that I am he. So if you seek me, let these men go." This was to fulfill the word that he had spoken. "Of these whom you gave me, I have lost not one." Then Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. So Jesus said to Peter, "Put up your sword into its sheath. Shall I not drink the cup that the Father has given to me?" Jesus and his disciples, they were in the garden when he was betrayed by Jesus. And we have Peter. You got to love Peter and all of his impulsiveness and his passion for defending Jesus. He drew out his sword and he cut off the right ear of Malchus, the high priest's servant. And here we witness another of Jesus' miracles. Luke chapter 22 says this, "And one of them struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his right ear. But Jesus answered, 'No more of this.' And he touched the man's ear, and he healed him." Jesus restored the servant's ear. There was a lot going on that day. Jesus was about to be arrested, but Jesus stopped, and he healed his ear. It's interesting that Jesus took the time to do that. That's significant to us because no matter what our need, Jesus cares and will take care of us. He'll take time to heal our wounds. And we know that we can always bring things to Jesus, and he will hear us, and he will hear us unconditionally. He healed the ear of the servant. He knows the number of hairs on our head, and he knows that not one bird falls to the ground without him knowing about it. So how is God wiring your story? During these days where everything is different, where nothing seems normal, where plans have been broken, where things that we have anticipated happening are no longer happening, what could God be preparing you for? When Jesus was on his way to the cross, traveling through Holy Week, he took time. He took time to replace the ear of Malchus, a servant of the high priest. How are some ways that God is wiring each of us to look and care for others during this time? How can we share that unending love of Jesus during this week? We know that Jesus' unconditional love and promise is true for each and every one of us. We know that Jesus is here to calm each of our storms. We know that he is that strength when we are weak. And we know the unconditional love that he has for us each and every day. We can hear some lovely words from the song, "My Song is Love Unknown." Let's close chapel with these words today. My song is love unknown, my Savior's love to me, love to the loveless shown, that they might lovely be. Oh, who am I that for my sake my Lord should take frail flesh and die? My friends, this week, as you travel through this journey, we look ahead to Palm Sunday, we look ahead to Holy Week, and we look ahead to that promise fulfilled on Easter Sunday. May God be with you as you continue studying from home, and know that he is with you no matter where you are and no matter where you go. Amen.